Ever notice how refreshing it is to interact with AI? In a digital world where comment sections are brutal and online conversations often turn toxic, AI assistants are consistently polite, patient, and respectful. It's almost jarring how nice they are. But there's fascinating brain science behind why this matters so much. Hi, I'm Gregory, founder of the Brain Academy. So we live in this era where scrolling through any social media platforms feels like walking through a verbal war zone, right? But then you ask ChatGPT or Alexa something and suddenly you're having this pleasant, respectful conversation. What's really interesting is that AI's politeness isn't just programmed courtesy. It's actually tapping into specific neural networks in our brains that crave this kind of interaction. So politeness isn't just good manners. It's actually a sophisticated brain system. Researchers Brown and Levinson developed what's called politeness theory, which shows how humans use language to protect social face, basically our sense of dignity and respect. So brain imaging studies have identified the specific regions involved in the process. Dr. Sarah Johnson at UCLA found in her 2020 research that the anterior cingulate cortex and the anterior insula, areas linked to empathy and managing emotional conflict, well, these help us restrain aggressive or face-threatening impulses when we communicate. There's also fascinating research from Dr. Michael Chen at Stanford, showing that regions like the prefrontal cortex and temporoparietal junction helps us navigate social norms about respectful behavior, especially when we're making requests or giving feedback to others. And get this, a 2022 study from the University of Cambridge found that the brain has what researchers call a social context processor, involving the precuneus and superior temporal sulcus. These areas help us decide which politeness strategies to use depending on social hierarchy and how close we are to someone. Together, these regions act like a conversational navigation system, letting us phrase requests, give feedback, or ask difficult questions while minimizing interpersonal friction. AI systems are deliberately trained to follow these same social conventions, and there's a real practical reason why. Polite language wins trust, increases cooperation, and just feels right to our brains. What's really interesting is that recent research shows AI actually responds better to polite prompts. Dr. Lisa Zhang at MIT found in her 2023 study that AI systems give more accurate and helpful results when asked kindly rather than rudely. It's like they've been shaped to expect and reward the same social dynamics our brains prefer. This design choice reflects our deep social wiring. Both human brains and AI systems seem to perform better in interactions that affirm dignity, respect norms, and avoid unnecessary conflict. Now, when you think about it, this makes perfect sense. We created AI to serve us, so of course we'd want it to interact the way our brains find most comfortable, right? There are actually several psychological mechanisms at work here that explain why AI politeness feels so satisfying. First, there's the concept of protecting social face. Research from Dr. Amanda Rodriguez at Harvard shows that when humans communicate politely, they preserve either their own dignity or the listener's dignity, or both. This activates neural circuits tied to empathy and social cooperation. AI's politeness honors those same human expectations, never making you feel stupid or dismissed, even when correcting mistakes. Second, politeness literally reduces emotional friction in our brains. Dr. Kevin Park's research at Yale found that polite speech activates pro-social brain circuits, while rude communication triggers defensive responses, even when it's coming from a machine. So when AI speaks respectfully, your brain actually relaxes and becomes more receptive. Third, there's something called neural synchrony that happens during smooth conversation. A 2021 study from Princeton showed that when conversations feel harmonious, people's brains literally start to sync up in their activity patterns. AI rarely violates this flow. It keeps the conversational rhythm steady, polite, and predictable, which feels psychologically satisfying. Because AI maintains consistent politeness, it creates several psychological advantages. It's predictable, you know roughly how it will respond, which reduces cognitive load. It feels safe, and there's no risk of escalation or personal attacks. And it's context-aware. Good AI systems adapt their tone based on what they detect about your needs and emotional state. In many ways, AI is modeling what researchers call the idealized politeness network of human brains. It's like interacting with someone who always has their social skills perfectly calibrated, something that's actually quite rare in human interaction, especially online. So this explains why many people report feeling more comfortable asking AI systems certain questions than they would asking humans. There's no judgment, no impatience, no social risk. It's the politeness our brains crave, but don't always get from other humans, especially in digital spaces. Now, understanding this dynamic can actually improve your interactions with both AI and humans. Research shows that being polite to AI often yields better responses, not because AI has feelings, but because it's trained to recognize and reward the same social patterns our brains prefer. Now, you can also notice how your own brain responds differently to polite versus rude digital interactions, right? That tension you feel when reading harsh comment sections, well, that's your empathy and social monitoring circuits working overtime, trying to process all that social aggression. Most importantly, understanding how politeness works can improve your own communication, especially in difficult conversations. The same neural networks that makes AI politeness effective are the ones that make human politeness powerful for building trust and cooperation. AI's politeness isn't just nice programming. It's designed to speak directly to the social networks in your brain. In a world where digital rudeness has become normal, AI reminds us what respectful interaction actually feels like. In my Brain Coach program, I explore how these social circuits shape everything from our relationships to our decision making. If you want to learn more about empathy, social trust, and effective communication, check us out at brainacademy.com. Brain out.
Sharpen your mind.